everybody. We are going to do a little bit of lunar flow today. I feel like it's been far too long. So this one is, we are going to move a little bit. We are going to tend to our tummies a little bit. So we are currently today, right now, we're in the waxing phase. So we had a new moon last week. So now the moon is getting brighter and brighter and brighter, which we can just kind of look at and assume is like energy levels growing and rising. So we're gonna emulate that, imitate that a little bit by how we move our body today. Let's get started laying down. So I want you to bring your head and shoulders down to the ground. Put your feet on the mat on the edges, and then let your knees fall together. So our knees are bent, our whole backside from the bottom of our spine to the very top is resting downward on the ground. Bring your hands to your low belly and then close your eyes. So Cancer rules the stomach. That is the season that we're in. We're in Cancer season until about July 22nd. And just as I've always said, you don't need to have your sun sign in Cancer for it to be a part of you. You can have your moon in Cancer, Venus in Cancer, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, so many different ways that Cancer can present itself through you, the sign of Cancer. Some of the themes that come along with Cancer, it's one of the most private signs. It's one of the most private places in the chart, at the very bottom of the wheel. This is reflective of our home. So as we move through our poses, as we move through our practice today, I want you to be aware of the Cancerian themes. That home, the mother, the nurturer, the caregiver. Maybe how those things come through you, how you do nurturing, how you do caregiving, how you do mothering. We don't need to be mothers. In order to kind of understand, I mean, it's not the same, but I have brothers, I have cousins that, with how much I love and care about them, I can't imagine how much stronger that mother's love is. But just think about it. How do you show that? How do you mother? How do you nurture? How do you tend to your home? And how do you deal with your stomach? A little bit of imagery. The crab is the sign of Cancer. It's the crab. You have a tough outside and a soft, gooey inside. So that tummy, that soft spot can be a point of weakness, where if we don't deal with our emotions, or we don't process, we don't give time to reflect, to process, to do the emotional thing, it shows up in our stomach. We get indigestion, we get discomfort, we get aches and pains in our belly area. And all of these kinds of themes all come back to the same little thread. It's all connected. Take a big breath in through your nose. Take a big breath out through your mouth. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. One more time. Breathe in through your nose. And out through your mouth. Take your arms open wide. Stretch them out from side of room to side of room. Notice how the shift feels in your body. You can feel this maybe in your chest and shoulders. And then feel your moving breath again. Feel your lungs expanding, contracting, your belly rising and falling. And we're going to pair movement to breath. So on an exhale, drop both knees down to one side. On an inhale, move your knees back to center. Just really slow, side to side, exhaling the knees down to the ground. And then inhaling back up through center. Find a little flow with your breath. Nice, little easy in and out. Waxing and waning. Just like the moon. Fun fact, the moon rules Cancer. So all the planets are happier in one sign than the rest. And this is where the moon is at home, the mother, the caregiver, the emotional intelligence, emotional care and nurturing. And just like the moon waxes and wanes, if people with a strong Cancer constitution in their chart, their emotional body waxes and wanes also. It can make them seem like they're like extra moody people. That usually only happens if they're out of balance or out of alignment, where that more difficult aspect will come out. Let's do one more to either side. Good, then point your knees back up to the ceiling. Now bring your hands, we're gonna find that there's a point between your belly button and your right hip bone. So if you need to look or if you can just feel it with your hands, we're gonna go to that midpoint, again, right between the belly button and the right hip bone. We're going to use both of our hands, all like our fingertips, to just kind of gently press in. You can make little circles. You can just do presses up and down, whatever feels right. You listen to your own body. And after a couple of times pressing on that little point right between belly button and hip bone, we're going to start to move up towards the rib cage. Essentially, we're just going to be making a really big circle around our abdominal area. Just use gentle pressure, nothing that's going to make you wince or grimace. And we'll just continue those circles all the way around our abdomen. Another reason that Cancer is linked to the belly, when we get these emotional, we get emotional sometimes. We have emotional reactions sometimes. And it can feel like knots in the belly. Because Cancer is also a water sign, that makes their constitution a little bit phlegmatic, so it can be difficult to let go. This is helpful in matters of history, of remembering family history, of remembering your ancestors, kind of like your lines and lineage. But it can also mean that we get like almost constipated. If we're not letting things go in a physical sense, we can get backed up in a physical sense. Same is true for emotions. If we're not letting emotions go, we're going to hold them in close towards our body and around our bellies. Let's do one more big circle around our abdomen, just reminding all these organs how much we love them, how much we want to let go. We don't want to hold on to old wounds and old stories and old traumas that make us feel like we're swept up in the ocean and the waves. And bring your hands to rest right under your belly button, making contact between hands and belly skin if you can. And just say to yourself, I promise to myself, I will do the emotional work. I will allow myself time to process. I will allow myself time to let go. Because it's when we do those difficult parts, when we do the work, is when we get to be better nurturers, better caregivers, better examples of that divine high feminine. Or bring your hands away from your stomach, knees in towards your chest, and put your hands on your knees or shins, and take a couple of circles or a couple of rocks. Let's come back to center. Cross your legs at your ankles. Move up to your seat. Relax your head, your shoulders. Let's have a nice tall spine. Core is engaged, protecting our back and giving us strong foundation to sit up nice and tall. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. And find some movement with your head. You can do side to side. You can do little head rolls. And just imagine all the stuff that you are carrying in your muscles. Imagine it being gently moved out by your movement, by your intention, by your deliberate awareness. Bring your gaze back to neutral. Let's crawl over our knees, come into a tabletop position. So make sure that your wrists fall below your shoulders, your knees fall below your hips. Then start to roll your spine up and down. We inhale, we exhale, we move through cats and cows. And just do your best to imitate water with your body. Flowing up and down. Breath and movement connected, inseparable. Notice how your belly feels as you move. Your stomach feels. Come back down to a neutral spine. And then tuck your toes under. Let's lift for downward facing dog. Hips go high, legs go long. And once you get there, just give yourself a couple of petals. Pressing one heel into the ground at a time. Letting the other heel pop up. Just getting some movement through our legs, through our lower half. And guess what? Putting your head below your heart is a wonderful practice for oxygenation of the brain, optimal functioning of the brain, which, let's just be honest, cancer is a more emotional time. So we want our brains, we want our logic, we want our rational part of ourselves to also be tended to. So let's get that oxygen up to the brain. And we can blend those superpowers together of emotion and logic. Press down into both heels and then walk your feet forward towards your hands. Let's go ahead and put the feet wide out onto the edges of the mat. And then grab onto your elbows. We'll find a ragdoll, releasing the spine, chest, head all forward. Imagine that everything that's been on your back or on your shoulders, on your mind, on your heart just rolls off. Release your hands down. Very slowly roll your way up to standing. Pressing the feet down to the ground. Take your arms out and up. Reach up for the ceiling. With your feet still wide, grab onto your left wrist and tip your body over to the right side of the room. Notice all that space you're making in your left side between your left elbow and your left knee. Let's come back to center. Breathe in. And then breathe out, switch sides, grab your right wrist, lean over to the left. Notice that length in your right side. Come back up to center, breathe in, stretch tall. Exhale, interlace your hands down by your tailbone. Breathe in, press your knuckles down, lift your eyes, breathe out, forward fold. Release your hands down to the ground. And then walk your feet in together. So they come right down beneath the hip bones. We're going to find a twist. So bring some softness into the knees. Then from there, straighten the left leg out. So we have a bend in our right knee. Right fingertips are down. Take your left hand up to the ceiling. The big reach. Look up towards your left hand. Release, switch sides, bend your left knee, take your right hand up high. Then fold your way forward. Halfway lift, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Extended mountain, breathe in, reach up high. Breathe out, fold forward. Halfway lift. Fold, extended mountain pose, press down, lift high, forward fold. Bend your knees and take your left foot to the back of the mat so all 10 of our toes stay pointing forward. We're going to twist again, left hand stays down, right hand goes up to the ceiling. And look up, invite that twist in through your midsection. Just imagine that twist is helping you with stuck emotion, with traumas, with wounds that you've held close to your body because maybe that's how you coped at the time. Bring your right hand down to the ground. Drop your back knee down. We're going to flow forward and back. Bring our hips towards the top of the mat and then our hips towards the back of the mat, straightening out the front leg as we move backward, bending the right knee as we move forward. So just find a flow, nice and watery, nice and easy. Water signs are just a little bit more slow. It's a little bit less verbal. It's a little bit more time for processing, less impulse, less recklessness. So don't think that in order to get the most out of this, you have to go fast and you have to go hard. Cancer is one of those signs that they work hard. It's an initiatory sign. They're going to like starting projects. They're going to like feeling like in the beginnings of things. Good. Let's bring our hips back towards the top of the mat. So we have a bend in that front knee. We'll tuck the back toes under, lift up, high lunge shape with the legs, and then we crawl over to the left side, straddle fold. Let's take a little bit of movement from side to side, just tending to the inner thigh, the groin. It's more private parts of our body. Come back to center on your inhale, stand tall, press the ground, lift your hands, and then exhale, arms into a T. Let's go ahead and put the hands on the hips, and then we'll turn our heels in and our toes out. We're going to go down into a goddess squat. So we'll sit down into our legs, take a peek at your knees. We want to make sure that they're pointing the same direction the toes are. A lot of knees like to move in. That's just not optimal safety for your knee joints, and that's something we want to work forever. So bring your hands to the tops of your thighs. Hips are still low. And we'll begin to twist opposite shoulder over to opposite knee. Again, slowly moving. And let's come back to center. Bring your hands together at your heart, low in your legs. And inhale, stand up tall. Exhale, arms to a T. Let's set up our legs for triangle pose. Right toes point to 12 o'clock. Left toes point somewhere between 9 and 10. And then we'll reach, 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 reach before you come down, bringing the right hand to the shin, to a block, to a hover, to the floor. Look up towards your lifted hand. Then rotate your chest down towards the ground. Turn your back toes to point to 12 o'clock. So we're in a long pyramid pose. Just let your chest fall down towards your front thigh. Soften your front knee. Step your toes so they line up, all 10 toes together. Let's bring ourselves to a halfway lift with an inhale. Exhale and fold. Extended mountain pose. Breathe in, reach high. Forward fold, exhale. Again, breathe in, halfway lift. Breathe out and fold. Extended mountain pose. Forward fold, exhale. Bring a bend into your right knee. Take your left hand up to the ceiling, twist. Look up towards the ceiling, up towards your left hand. Bringing out all that you don't need to carry. Release and switch sides. Think about it. Crabs carry their home on their back. Just that imagery can point to us on Earth, the Cancer people with heavy Cancer in their charts, carrying everything they need with them. Let's fold our body forward. Bring a big bend into your knees and then step back with your right foot. All 10 toes point to 12. And then we'll twist again. Left hand goes up high. Yeah, sometimes bringing stuff with us is just part of being prepared. But it's possible to over-prepare. It's possible to prepare backwards. We're preparing for things that have already happened that we don't need to drag along with us. Let it go. Bring your left hand down. Drop your right knee. Slowly begin to rock forward and back with your hips. Bending your left knee and then straightening it out. Bring your hips forward. Front knee bends, knee stacked on top of ankle. Tuck your back toes, lift up into a high lunge, and then walk your way over to straddle fold. This time toes point to the right. Any stretches, any challenge that you'd like to incorporate into your practice today, go ahead. Any stretches, any movement, any other poses. Let's all make our way back to straddle fold if you've transitioned into another pose. Then from there, we'll inhale, we'll come up tall. And exhale, hands to hips. Goddess pose, round 2. Heels turn in, toes point out. Then go down low into your hips. Once you find your pose, your knees are stacked on your ankles, connect hands together at heart center and press into your hands. Feel the muscles in your chest activate. And sit down low and hold steady for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stand up, breathe in. Exhale, arms into a T. Get ready for your triangle pose. Left toes to 12, right toes to 3. And then begin to tip your way down into the pose. Left hand, left shin to a block, to a hover. Right hand to the ceiling. And release, long pyramid pose. Bring your chest down towards your left thigh. Turn your right toes to 12 o'clock. And then allow the back of those legs to open. Bring some softness into your left knee. Step your right foot forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale and fold. Extended mountain pose, breathe in. Forward fold, exhale. Halfway lift. Fold. Extended mountain. Forward fold. Halfway lift. High plank, take your feet back. Now either lower your knees or remain in plank. To lower to the floor slowly, 5 counts. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, keep your hands planted by your shoulders. We're gonna begin to move through cobras. With an inhale, we lift the chest up. Keep a little bend in your elbows. Exhale, release your chest down. Flow with your breath, inhaling up and exhaling down. Just really find it in you to move like water. Nice little flow. Maybe it's an undercurrent, maybe it's a tidal wave. You choose. Take one more cobra. And then release. Release your right cheek down to the ground and put your arms wherever they're the most comfortable. Let's bring the left leg into a half frog. We'll bend the knee, point it over to the left side of the room, slide your knee up to about hip level. And then notice how good it feels to have your belly resting on the ground. That soft part of you, kind of protected. And with that safety, with that protection, allow yourself to go into that space of nurturing, of care. I'm going to talk about 3 different Cancer people that I know that they just embody these themes so beautifully and so differently. Just to inspire you to maybe look at some of your people and wonder if maybe they have little bits and pieces of this in them. First is my grandpa, my dad's dad, Dan. The grandkids affectionately call him Dan. And he is such a caring man. Let's switch to the other side. Take your left leg out long. Bring your left cheek to the mat, right knee into half frog. So just thinking back over knowing Dan, I've known him for as long as I can remember, for my whole life. He's always been such a gentleman, like in the way that he presents himself and also in the way that he behaves. He's always got his little khaki pants on that are pleated. I've never seen him in like dirty clothes or hardly even shorts. Like the man is just a proper man. He always pulls out the chairs. He's always looking out for his family. And you know what? He even adopted my dad and my dad's sister Liza. And I didn't even know. I always thought that Dan was my dad's real dad. I don't think I knew until I was like 10 or 12. I was so confused because he's so loving, he's so accepting. He brought them into the family with open arms. And he's always treated them all the same, from what I can tell. I know I didn't grow up with them. But I just think that is such a beautiful embodiment of Cancer energy. And he does it from a very masculine place. It's a lovely way to see the two, the energies kind of combine. He's very private. He always wants to leave like right after dinner, not like a dine and dash way, but like well, it was good to see you, we better get out of your hair. Like he wants to be in his home. He wants to be like, privacy is big. Now it's all unfolding for me. He lives in a neighborhood with or like in a cul-de-sac with just his brother. There's no other people. I mean, in the rest of the neighborhood, yes. But that's how private he is. He has his own little private cul-de-sac with his own little favorite little family member. And that's where they live. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Let's take the legs long behind. Bring your hands beside your chest. And come up to hands and knees, and then we'll find a seat. So bring your legs out in front of you. Connect the bottoms of your feet together. Just going to take a cobbler pose, so long spine, and then release your way forward. All right, so another Cancer in my life is a friend in Fort Wayne who is a social worker. She works with people who need to be cared for. She works with people that need to be heard and listened to. And about a year ago, like before I moved, I remember we got together like a couple days, and she's burning all of her candles. She is that strong of a carer, of a nurturer. Your family's important to her. And she is amazing in the kitchen. There were times that we got together where I almost felt like I needed to pay her, because I felt like it was like therapy. She always made sure that we were heard, that someone was tending to the person that needed to be tended to. And that is Cancer. That's Cancer energy. Another Cancerian is a woman I met here in Florida, and she's a raw vegan chef. She works out of the restaurant, or the juice store that I work out of. And I've only worked with her for like a week or two, but just listen to what people say. She talks about her kids. She talks about her teenagers and how she can't get them to eat anything and she can't get them to do anything with her. And she tries, she plans things, she's always looking up fun things to do. And that is like, that's such a big part of her world. You can tell she talks about it all the time. Well, my daughters wouldn't eat dinner last night. What a mother. And this woman knows how to take ingredients and put them together in nurturing ways. All the food she prepares is delicious. It makes you want to indulge. And it's cruelty-free. That's Cancer. Strong mama bear vibes. Strong, caring vibes. Really good at those domestic home things. It doesn't have to be cooking. It can be housewife type things, laundry. It can be organization, management of the home and the people within. Maybe she's just they're just really good at making a cozy environment. This energy doesn't only have one way to express. It comes out in all sorts of different ways. Let's bring the spine back up. Roll your way onto your backside. Hands to the belly. Knees bent, feet on the floor. Let your knees fall together, just like we started. And bring to mind all those people that you know that excel at caregiving, at nurturing, being a good, scary, strong mama bear, being a hard worker, knowing their way around the home, knowing their way around feelings. And lift these people up just in a prayer of gratitude or with words of appreciation and care. Care back to them. And consider yourself. How you do the caring, the nurturing, the mothering, the home stuff, working hard, feeling. Recognize where you excel and where you lack. And then lift yourself up in gratitude, prayers of gratitude or appreciation or caring. Because one of the downfalls of Cancer, this Cancer energy, is that they'll go to extremes to care for everybody but themselves. You're part of the equation, baby. You got to take care of you to take care of anybody else. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. And stretch your body long, arms overhead, feet forward. Inhale, big stretch. Exhale, relax. knees in towards your chest. Move your way up to seated. And connect hands together at your heart. The carer, the nurturer in me sees, honors, recognizes the carer and nurturer in you. Namaste. All right, I hope you enjoyed practice. If you feel like sticking around a little bit longer in meditation, feel free. Otherwise, have a great day. Love your Cancer people, love yourself, and we'll talk soon.